this thing. Okay, we're going to start with our pranams. Chant with us. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devam Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Yadesha Tarane Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Garadhara Srivas Adi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Harivon. Welcome, everybody. So happy that you're with us. And for those who might tune in later on the YouTube channel or wherever, we are glad to have you in this Srimad Bhagavatam study. The Srimad Bhagavatam means the beautiful story of the personality of Godhead, that person of which no one is equal to nor greater than, the original person, the person from whom all other creation is coming. That is known as Krishna. Krishna is the most beautiful, wealthy, wise, famous, powerful, yet renounced personality. So he has all attributes, all potencies in full, of which no one can be equal to nor greater than. That is the definition of God. So our study is of God, and God has many expansions. So this particular story tonight, chapter 65 and the 10th canto of the beautiful Srimad Bhagavatam, we call it Great Histories and Personalities. This is the first expansion of the Lord, the Adi Guru. This is Lord Balaram. And in this particular chapter, Lord Balaram has his pastimes in Gokula and Vrindavan, and he enjoyed with the cowherd girls. He had an experience with the Jamuna River, and I think you'll find it quite enjoyable and quite adventurous. After that, we have another story in the next chapter of a personality who impersonated God. So we can see how that works out, okay? Don't think it's going to work out that good, but you stick with us here and you'll hear the whole story in just a few moments of great adventure. So chapter 65, and as usual, I will read the first 10 or 15 verses, and then anyone else who would like, or if you have any questions along the way, or if there's any points you want to go over or discuss, or if you'd like to read, please chime in. This is a group effort, and I'm happy to get it started tonight. So in text 1, Chapter 65, Sukadeva Goswami said, O best of the Kurus, once Lord Balaram, eager to visit his well-wishing friends, mounted his chariot and traveled to Nanda Gokula in Vrindavan Dham. Having long suffered the anxiety of separation, the cowherd men and their wives, they embraced Lord Balaram. The Lord then offered respects to his parents, and they joyfully greeted him with prayers. Nanda and Yasoda prayed, O descendant of Dashara, O Lord of the universe, may you and your younger brother Krishna ever protect us. Saying this, they raised Sri Balaram onto their laps, embraced him, and moistened him with the tears from their eyes. Lord Balaram then paid proper respects to the elder cowherd men, and the younger ones all greeted him respectfully. He met them all with smiles, handshakes, and so on, dealing personally with each one according to their age, degree of friendship, and family relationship. Then after resting, the Lord accepted a comfortable seat, and they all gathered around him. With voices faltering, out of love for him, those cowherds who had dedicated everything to lotus-eyed Krishna asked about the health of their dear ones in Dwarka, and Balaram in turn asked about the cowherds' welfare. The cowherd said, O Rama, are all of our relatives doing well? And Rama, do all of you with your wives and children, do you still remember us? It is our great fortune that sinful Kamsa has been killed and our dear relatives have been freed. And it is also our good fortune that our relatives have killed and defeated their enemies and found complete security in a great fortress. Sukadeva Goswami continued, honored to have the personal audience of Lord Balaram, the young gopi smiled and asked him, Is Krishna the darling of the city women living happily? Does he remember his family members, especially his father and mother? Do you think he will ever come back, even once, to see his mother? And does mighty arm Krishna remember the service we always did for him? For Krishna's sake, O descendant of Dasara, we abandon our mothers, fathers, brothers, husbands, children, and sisters, even though these family relationships are very, very difficult to give up. But now, O Lord, that the same Krishna has suddenly abandoned us and gone away, breaking off all affectionate ties with us. And yet, how could any woman fail to trust his promises? How can intelligent city women possibly trust the words of one whose heart is so unsteady and who is so ungrateful? They must believe him because he speaks so wonderfully, and also because his beautiful smiling glances arouse their lust. Why bother talking about him, dear Gopi? Please talk of something else. If he passes his time without us, then we shall similarly pass our time without him. While speaking these words, the young cowherd women remembered Lord Sari's laughter, his pleasing conversations with them, his attractive glances, his style of walking, and his loving embraces, and thus they began to cry. So, who would like to pick it up there?
Would Jai Krishna like to go in case we lose him?
Well, I'll go, and I doubt you're going to lose me.
Okay.
At least I hope not.
We
I
don't
hope
want
not.
to.
Neither do I. We starting with 16?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay. The Supreme Lord Balaram, the attractor of all, being expert at various kinds of consolation, consoled the gopis by relaying to them the confidential messages Lord Krishna had sent with them. These messages deeply touched the gopis' hearts. Lord Balaram, the personality of Godhead, resided there for 2 months of Madhu and Madhava, and during the nights he gave his cowherd girlfriends conjugal pleasure. In the company of numerous women, Lord Balaram enjoyed in a garden by the Yamuna River. This garden was bathed in the rays of the full moon and caressed by the breezes bearing the fragrance of night blooming lotuses. Sent by the demigod Varuna, the divine Varuni liquor flowed from a tree hollow and made the entire forest even more fragrant with its sweet aroma. The wind carried to Balaram the fragrance of the flood of sweet liquor, and when he smelled it, he went to the tree. There he and his female companions drank. Is that like a honey? Is that a honey, Gayatri? Some kind of sweet?
Yeah, it's called Varuni beverage. We used to make it at the Atlanta Temple. And
I got buzzed on that in Miami Beach Temple. Now that I think about it.
yeah, that was a big thing way, way back, the Varuni
Yeah,
beverage.
yeah.
And when we
I,
were
I, I remember I was with Vijay and Panchagoda. I remember that now.
That's pretty
As the,
amazing.
as
Yeah.
the Gandharvas as the Gandharvas sang his glories, Lord Balaram enjoyed with him the brilliant circle of young women. He appeared just like Indra's elephant, the lordly Arivata, enjoying in the company of she-elephants. At the time, kettle drums resounded in the city. The Gandharva joyfully rained down flowers, and the great sage praised Lord Balaram's heroic deeds. As his deeds were sung, Lord Hayuda wandered there we go, as if inebriated among the various forests with his girlfriends. His eyes rolled from the effects of the liquor. Remember that. Intoxicated with joy, Lord Balaram sported flower garlands, including famous Vajayati. He wore a single earring, and the beads of perspiration decorated his smiling lotus like snowflakes. The Lord then summoned the Yamuna River so that he can play in her waters, but she degraded his command, thinking he was drunk. This angered Balaram, and he began dragging the river with the tip of his plow. Over to you, Raghavati.
Good job. Ranga, you got to unmute.
Okay, thank you. I went to press it and obviously I didn't press it
All
properly.
right. No worries.
Okay, 26. Lord Balaram said, O sinful one, disrespecting me, you do not come when I call you, but rather move only by your own whim. Therefore, with the tip of my plough, I shall bring you here in 100 streams. Sukadev Goswami continued, thus scalded by the Lord, O king, the frightened river goddess Yamuna came and fell at the feet of Sri Balaram, the beloved descendant of Yadu. Trembling, she spoke to him the following words. Goddess Yamuna said, Rama, Rama, O mighty armed one, I know nothing of your prowess. With a single portion of yourself, you hold up the earth, O Lord of the universe. My Lord, please release me, O soul of the universe. I didn't understand your position as the supreme Godhead, but now I have surrendered unto you, and you are always kind to your devotees. Sukadev Goswami continued. Thereupon, Lord Balaram released the Jamuna and, like the king of the elephants with his entourage of she-elephants, entered the river's water with his female companions. The Lord played in the water to his full satisfaction, and when he came out, Goddess Kanti presented him with blue garments, precious ornaments, and a brilliant necklace. Lord Balaram dressed himself in the blue garments and put on the golden necklace. Anointed with fragrances and beautifully adorned, he appeared as resplendent as Indra's royal elephant. Even today, O king, one can see how the Jamuna flows through the many channels created when it was dragged by the unlimited, powerful Lord Balaram. Thus she demonstrates his prowess. Thus, for Lord Balaram, all the nights passed like a single night as he enjoyed in Vraj, his mind enchanted by the exquisite charm and beauty of Vraja's young ladies.
Beautiful. Thank you for that reading. How about the next one? Chapter 66. Anybody else want to grab some of
Who
this?
wants to do any? No. No, my
This is
husband doesn't want to read.
okay. Well, this is Pandraka, the false Vasudeva. So this chapter actually relates how Krishna went to Kashi. That's in Benares in India, by the way. And he killed Pundraka and Kasiraj. It's a famous story. And the Lord Sudarshan Chakra, which is always by his side, defeated these demons. What Bhavananda's got a look on his face over there. I wonder what he's doing. All right. So anyway, then the Lord Sudarshan went and incinerated actually the city of Kashi, and so it's a very very interesting story here that I think you'll like. This is a person who imitated the Lord as being God, and you may know some people like that in your own life, who think they're God, or maybe they think they're an incarnation of God, or whatever it is. But when they're challenged to live up to the prowess of being God, all of them falter. None of them can actually do the feats that God is doing that we're reading about here in the Srimad Bhagavatam. And they're all defeated. So, in the same way, this will happen here. And by the way, this is such a wonderful story that anyone who actually hears this story will become immediately freed from all their past sinful activities. So this is very, very important for us to hear these kind of stories because they purify the heart and soul and allow us to develop some humility, understanding of who is God, what God's prowess truly is, and keeps us on the right track and where we're not offensive to the Lord, where we're not envious of the Lord necessarily. However, I think you'll find out that this demon, Pundraka, actually became Krishna conscious by hating God. So he actually received some liberation. We'll talk about that in just a moment. So that's a little synopsis of the story. Here's the story. Sukadeva Goswami said, O king, while Lord Balaram was away visiting Nanda's village in Vraja, the ruler of Kurusha, foolishly thinking, I am the supreme Lord Vasudeva, sent a messenger to Lord Krishna. Paundraka was emboldened by the flattery of childish men who told him, You are Vasudeva, you are the supreme Lord and master of the universe, who have now descended upon the earth. Thus, he imagined himself to be the infallible personality of Godhead himself. Thus, slow-witted King Paundraka sent a messenger to the inscrutable Lord Krishna at Dwarka. Paundraka was acting just like an unintelligent child whom other children are pretending is a king. After arriving in Dwarka, the messenger found Lord Lotus-eyed Krishna in his royal assembly and relayed the king's message to that almighty God. On Paundraka's behalf, the messenger said, I am the one and only Lord Vasudeva, and there is no other. It is I who have descended to this world to show mercy to the living beings. Therefore, give up your false name. O Sattvata, give up my personal symbols, which out of foolishness you now carry, and come to me for shelter. If you do not, then you must give me battle. Sukadeva Goswami said, King Ugrasena and the other members of the assembly laughed loudly when they heard this vain boasting of the unintelligent Paundraka. The personality of Godhead, after enjoying the jokes of the assembly, told the messenger to relay a message to his master. You fool, I will indeed let loose the weapons you boast of in this way. And when you lie dead, O fool, your face covered by vultures, herons, and vata birds, you will become the shelter of dogs. When the Lord has thus spoken, the messenger conveyed his insulting reply to his master in its entirety. Lord Krishna then mounted his chariot and went to the vicinity of Kashi. Upon observing the Lord's preparation for battle, the mighty warrior Paundraka quickly went out to the city with 2 full military divisions. Paundraka's friend, the king of Kashi, followed behind, O king, leading the rear guard with the 3 Ashokini divisions. Lord Krishna saw that Paundraka was carrying the Lord's own insignia, such as the conch shell disc, sword, and club, and also an imitation Sarngabo and Srivatsa mark. He wore a mock Kastuba gem, was decorated with a garland of forest flowers, and was dressed in upper and lower garments of fine yellow silk. His banner bore the image of Garuda, and he wore a valuable crown and gleaming shark-shaped earrings. So he is completely impersonating the Lord. Lord Hari laughed heartily when he saw how the king had dressed up in an exact imitation of his own appearance, just like an actor on stage. So, all right, guys, who wants to pick up at 16? Please.
I'll take it.
Mm-hmm.
The enemies of Lord Hari attacked him with tridents, clubs, bludgeons, spikes, also barbed darts, lances, swords, axes, and arrows. But Lord Krishna fiercely struck back at the army of Paundraka and Kasira, which consisted of elephants, chariots, cavalry, and infantry. The Lord tormented his enemies with his club, sword, sandarsana disc, and arrows, just as the fire of annihilation torments of the various kinds of creatures at the end of a cosmic age. The battlefield strewn with dismembered chariots, horses, elephants, humans, mules, and camels that had been cut to pieces by the Lord's disc weapons, shown like gruesome playground, the Lord Bujapati giving pleasure to the wise. Lord Krishna then addressed Paundraka. My dear Paundraka, the very weapons you spoke of through your messenger are now released unto you. O fool, now I shall make you renounce my name, which you have falsely assumed, and I will certainly take shelter of you if I do not wish to fight you. Having thus derided Paundraka, Lord Krishna destroyed his chariot with his sharp arrows. The Lord then cut off his head with a Sandarsatra disc, just as Lord Indra lopes off a mountain peak with his thunderbolt weapon. With his arrows, Lord Krishna similarly severed Kasidra's head from his body. Wow. Sending it flying into Kasi city like a lotus flower thrown by the wind. Having thus killed envious Pondraka and his ally, Lord Krishna returned to Dwarka. As he entered the cities of heaven chanted his immortal nectarine glories. By constantly meditating upon the Supreme Lord, Pundraka shattered all his material bonds. Indeed, by imitating Lord Krishna's appearance, O king, he ultimately became Krishna conscious. Wow, it took a long time to get Krishna conscious. Seeing a head decorated with earrings laying by the gates of the royal palace, the peoples present were puzzled. Some of them asked, "What is this?" And others said, "It is a head. But who is it?" My dear king, when they recognized it as the head of their king, the lord of the Kasi, his queens, sons, and other relatives, along with their citizens of the city, began to cry pitifully. Alas, we are all killed. Oh my lord, oh my lord. Over to you, Raghavati.
Okie dokie. Let's get the recording going. Here we go. 28. After the king's son, Sudakshina, had performed the obligatory funeral rituals for his father, he resolved within his mind, only by killing my father's murderer can I avenge his death. Thus the charitable Sukashina, together with his priests, began worshipping Lord Maheshwara with great attention. Satisfied by the worship, the powerful Lord Shiva appeared in the sacred precinct of Avimukta and offered Sudakshina his choice of benedictions. The prince chose as his benediction a means to slay his father's killer. Lord Shiva told him, accompanied by brahmanas, serve the Dakshingagni fire, the original priest, following the injunctions of the Abhichara ritual. Then the Dakshingagni fire, together with many pramatas, will fulfill your desire if you direct it against someone inimical to the Brahmanas. So instructed, Sudakshina strictly observed the ritualistic vows and invoked the Abhichara against Lord Krishna. Thereupon, the fire rose up out of the altar pit, assuming the form of an extremely fearsome naked person. The fiery creature's beard and tuft of hair were like molten copper, and his eyes emitted blazing hot cinders. His face looked most frightful with its fangs and terrible arched and furrowed brows as he licked the corners of his mouth with his tongue. The demon shook his flaming trident. On legs as tall as palm trees, the monster raced towards Dwarka in the company of ghostly spirits, shaking the ground and burning the world in all directions. Seeing the approach of the fiery demon created by the Abhichara ritual, the residents of Dwarka were all struck with fear, like animals terrified by a forest fire. Distraught with fear, the people cried out to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who was then playing at dice in the royal court. Save us, O Lord of the three worlds, from this fire burning up the city. When Lord Krishna heard the people's agitation and saw that even his own men were disturbed, that most worthy giver of shelter simply laughed and told them, do not fear, I shall protect you. The Almighty Lord, the internal and external witness of all, understood that the monster had been produced by Lord Shiva from the sacrificial fire. To defeat the demon, Krishna dispatched his own disc weapon, who was waiting at his side. That Sudarshan, the disc weapon of Lord Mukunda, blazed forth like millions of suns. His effulgence blazed like the fire of universal annihilation. and with his heat he pained the sky. He painted the sky, all the directions, heaven and earth, also the fiery demon. Frustrated by the power of Lord Krishna's weapon, O kin, the fiery creature produced by black magic turned his face away and retreated. Created for violence, the demon then returned to Varanasi. And I think I know what's going to happen now. Where he surrounded the city and then burned Sudakshina and his priest to death, even though Sudakshina was his creator.
Frankenstein turned against his master.
That's right. Yeah, yeah.
All right.
Oh, okay, I'll continue. We're almost done.
Okay.
Lord Vishnu's disc also entered Varanasi in pursuit of the fiery demon and proceeded to burn the city to the ground, including all its assembly halls and residential palaces with raised porches, its numerous marketplaces, gateways, water towers, warehouses, and treasuries, and all the buildings housing elephants, horses, chariots, and grains. After burning down the entire city of Varanasi, Lord Vishnu's Sudarshan Chakra returned to the side of Sri Krishna, whose actions are effortless. Any mortal who recounts this heroic pastime of Lord Uttamasloka, or who simply hears it attentively, will become freed from all sins.
Wonderful that is. Yeah, Uttama, shloka. Shloka means the Shastra, it means the words of God. And Uttama means the ultimate word of God. That's what Uttama shloka means. So the ultimate verse or the ultimate passage, the ultimate meaning of the Shastra, that is Krishna's name. He has millions of names. Nam Namakari Bahudha Nija Sarga Shakti. Shaktis means he's put all of his energies in these various names. So as we know what his name means, we can understand the Lord. So any mortal who recounts this heroic pastime of Lord Uttama Shloka, or who simply even just hears it attentively, will become free from all sins. So what does Krishna say in Bhagavad Gita? This fits right in with this. In 9.2 in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Raja Vidya, Rajaguyam, Pavitram Idam Uttamam, Pratyak Shavagamam Dharmyam, Sasukam Kartam Avyayam. So you see this word Uttamam? Pavitram Idam Uttamam. Uttamam means like Uttama Shloka. Uttamam, he is the ultimate. He's the end of all knowledge. He's the end of all seeking after knowledge. This knowledge is the king of all education. It's the most secret of all secrets. There is no greater secrets. It's the purest knowledge. And because it gives a person direct perception of the soul inside their body by realization, it is the perfection actually of religion. Because religion is meant to give you a perception of truth. Who is God? Who am I? What am I doing here? What's my relationship with God? What am I supposed to be doing here? Why is this place created? What is the purpose of all of this? What's my connection? See what I'm saying? We're born in the darkness of ignorance. So we have to have our eyes opened by the torchlight of knowledge by the spiritual master. The spiritual master is coming to give you pure knowledge, and he has realized it himself. And just simply by doing a little service to the spiritual master, one can receive causeless mercy from him, and one can be introduced on the inside to the intimate associates of the Lord. So this is why it's so, so very important that we involve ourselves in this everlasting, joyfully performed function of Sanatana Dharma. Sanatana means the eternal function of every soul. Dharma means its function. What is that? What is that function? Pure love of Godhead. So if you look in the Nectar of Devotion, very beautiful book. Everybody should read Nectar of Devotion regularly because it will teach you how to get to the stage of Raganuga Bhakti. where you're spontaneously loving God. But in the Srimad Bhagavatam, back in the third canto, I think it's 29th chapter, verse 12, Kapila Dev was instructing his mother. And so when Kapila Dev had given his mother all this devotional instruction, he said, he gave her the following characteristics of pure devotion. Okay? So pure devotional, he says, quote, "My dear mother, those who are my pure devotees and who have no desire for material wealth or philosophical speculation have their minds so much engaged in my service that they're never interested in asking me for anything." Do you think that Krishna doesn't know you need some daily bread, y'all? Okay, little daily bread. I mean, he's feeding everybody, even the elephants, and they eat whole trees and forests, you know. They got plenty of food. The whales are eating whole schools of fish, and God is taking care of it all, including you. Has anyone here starved to death yet? No one? So you've been fed every day of your whole life? Huh? Pretty cool, huh? You got plenty of air to breathe, y'all? Feels pretty good, huh? See what I'm saying? So Krishna is providing everything to everyone since time immemorial. He's self-sufficient. He doesn't need us, but we need Krishna. We need Krishna, and we must get Krishna by all means. But Krishna goes on to say, and when we say get Krishna by all means, this story, this last story, will give you a good understanding of how you can get Krishna even in an adversarial role. Kamsa achieved the same liberation that, or similar liberation as Pandraka. And I want you to hear how that goes in just a few moments. I'll tell you about it, okay? So let's go on down the list. It says, they do not even beg to live in my abode. Everybody wants to go back home, back to Godhead. Prabhupada said, back home, back to Godhead. Well, that's our home. We shouldn't want to go back home to Krishna. We've lost our way in the material world. We're following all these speculative paths, and our minds are many branched, and our knowledge is varied, and we're always fighting. If you look at the history of the material world, you'll see why Krishna had to come. He had to come to kill the demons. Duskritam, he wanted to kill them. But he also wanted to save the sadhunam. The sadhunam is those devotees of the Lord who are interested in serving the Lord. So if you go back in history, you'll see that when we left Krishna, as soon as we left Krishna, it's very much similar to the story you hear about the Garden of Eden. Somebody wanted to take a bite of the apple, okay? You can't have the apple. You're going to take a bite. Now they realize they're naked. Now they realize all this knowledge. They were innocent like children. They were happy. Now they're victims of their own carnal knowledge. And so that carnal knowledge has led them to sense gratification, to sex, and so many other things that we're all attracted to here in the material world. As a matter of fact, we think money is the honey. Prahlad Maharaj said like that. And money is the honey. And nothing sweeter, than that honey of the money. So everybody is chasing the money. That's Mother Lakshmi. That's Krishna's wife. That's Narayan's wife. And we're trying to chase her, trap her, put her in our cage, keep her, and molest her, literally. Because we're using Lakshmi for all kind of purposes that are against her desire and against the desire of the Lord. So when we see these great kings like Pandraka, and we see this Kashi Raj, what they're doing is they're using all this wealth for their nonsensical gain. That's why Krishna burned it down. Do you get it? He burned up their storehouses of grain. He burned their government buildings. He burned their treasury. He burned up their elephants. He burned up everything they had, all the way to the ground, to ash, right? Because that's what happens when we pursue these material desires. We're burned literally to ash by those desires. They say the motive passion is like fire. It burns, and it'll burn you. It'll burn you to ash. It'll scar you. It will hurt you. It will damage you. Because when you try to put your hand in a fire, what happens to your hand? It's burned. Try to imagine you put your whole body in a fire. It's burned. You know, there's that story. I've forgotten exactly how the story goes, but it was a man who didn't want Srila Prabhupada uh, to uh, to have the temple. I think this is in Juhu, if I'm not mistaken. And so they were going to have all these gundas come. And there's one nice devotee who said, "Look, I've got a gun." He said, "Don't just send 2 or 3 gundas, send 200." He said, "I have 201 bullets for them." So he was willing to stand up. But they wanted to burn the temple down to the ground. They wanted to burn the deities down. They wanted to burn it all because wherever the deities go, normally they don't ever move that. That facility is there. So he wanted it to be burned and removed so that he could then possess that. So ultimately, my understanding of the story, and Ram Raghava's here, he might even know what the rest of this story is. But because he threatened to burn down the temple, he himself, at the end of his life, poured gasoline on himself, set himself on fire, and killed himself in that way. So it all comes back. Okay, it all comes back to us. But there's another story. What is that story about? Even Krishna was saying that he actually lived out his karma. When Krishna left this world and was shot by the arrow of the hunter and it struck him, there is some mention in the Vedas about how he had killed with an arrow. Who was that personality he killed? It was the brother of the monkey demon who was helping Krishna, Ram, in his pursuit of Sita. Anyway, he shot him from behind a tree. So Krishna accepted that at the time he left this world behind as a reaction. He accepted. He didn't get angry. He didn't get any of that. We can go back to that story and we can study that story of how Krishna actually left the planet. And he says himself, it dates back to the time of when Ramchandra, he was Ramchandra in the incarnation of Ramchandra. Anyway, so the purpose of what I'm trying to explain here in this particular situation is that this person, it says, was so caught up with wanting to kill Krishna that he actually became Krishna conscious. The false Vasudeva actually became Krishna conscious. And so when he was killed, he was given a liberation. It says here that after the Lord killed Pandraka, he beheaded both him and Kasiraj with the Sudarshan disc. It says, but because Pandraka had constantly meditated on the Supreme Lord, even dressing like him, wearing a false Kastuba gem, false mark of Srivaj, all these different things he was carrying, because he had done this, he gained liberation. He gained liberation, just like Kamsa gained liberation by hating Krishna, by concentrating on Krishna nonstop. When Krishna killed him, he was awarded one of the different types of liberation. So in the Nectar of Devotion, it talks about there's 5 kinds of liberation. I don't know if you know what they are, but these 5 kinds of liberation allow a person to take up a particular type of form of the Lord. They may have a bodily appearance of the Lord, they may have opulence of the Lord, etc., and so on, in those 5 times of liberation. To become one with the Lord, to live with the Supreme Lord on the same planet as the Lord, to have the same features as the Lord, and to enjoy the same opulences as the Lord, and to live as a companion with the Lord. These are the 5 kinds of liberation that you can achieve. Kamsa achieved one of those, and Pandraka achieved one of those as well, because they were constantly meditating on the Lord. So, but it says that for a pure devotee, he doesn't look for any of these 5 kinds of liberation, doesn't care about them. He's simply satisfied discharging loving service to the Lord in whatever condition he finds himself in. That's why we're practicing now this love of Godhead. We're practicing by enduring whatever Krishna is sending to us every day and doing it with the right attitude. We accept this as our lot in life. Please allow me to suffer my lot in life. But by no means ever, Lord, allow me to forget you. Always keep me mindful of you. So this is the idea that if a person actually becomes mindful of the Lord, they're going to go to the Lord. Krishna says, whatever you think of at the time of death, to that state you shall surely attain. So the idea is to fill your mind with Krishna consciousness. So here's a few little thoughts for you that I thought I'd share with you tonight from the Nectar of Devotion, and I think you'll really appreciate. So if we want to have these characteristics of pure devotion, we have to understand from the Vaishnava Acharya. So we go back to Rupa Goswami, and he gives us evidences from different scriptures. He actually states that there are 6 characteristics of pure devotion, and they are as follows. Number 1 is that pure devotional service brings immediate relief from all kinds of material distress. Immediate relief from all kinds of material distress. I'll give you a really good idea of how that works practically. So, have you ever been miserable, just suffering, maybe in your mind even, just pangs of mental anxiety and fear, and whatever it might be? We all get it. Everybody can say, yes, I've had that. It's not a problem. But as soon as something comes that distracts your mind away from that problem is now not in your conscious mind. Now your mind is concentrating on something good, right? Or something better than the suffering you were experiencing while you were in a state of fear and anxiety and so forth and so on. So some people in the material world, what they try to do to avoid misery and anxiety is they try to sleep. Sloth. Sloth is one way to avoid misery in the mode of ignorance, and that is just simply sleep it off. Sleep it off. People do. They do. And they try to enter that mode of ignorance because mode of ignorance is bliss, right? So they go to that, or they'll take a drug that makes them do that, or they'll take some heroin, or they'll take that knocks them out or puts them to sleep. You know, fentanyl, it's a sleeping medication. They take so much of it, it puts them to sleep permanently. This has happened to Michael Jackson, Prince. I mean, I'm sure the list goes on and on and on. All these guys are trying to do is escape the misery of life and get a little sleep. They can't even do it. They're in so much anxiety because they've set such goals for themselves that they have to reach them. They have to satisfy so many people, and they have to be there on their game, and they're not capable of doing it. And it literally destroys them. Fame literally destroys you. So these opulences of the Lord are meant for the Lord. If he gives them to you, you got to give them back. Otherwise, they'll destroy you. Okay? If you don't use it for Krishna, it's going to destroy you anyway. Yagyartit karma nonyacha loko yam karma bandhana tadartam karma kontaya mukta sangha samatra. If you don't do what you do for Krishna, then you do it for you. If you do it for you, good luck. Good luck. You like birth, you like death, you like old age, you like disease, you're going to get plenty of it. Okay? Just do something with a selfish motive, and you will experience the results of your karma. If you do it for Krishna, you get a little token punishment. It's okay. We accept it as our lot in life, and we ask the Lord, please engage me in your devotional service. So the second thing is pure devotional service is the beginning of all auspiciousness. As soon as you do devotional service, auspiciousness follows. Wherever there's Krishna, Lakshmi, good fortune comes. Lakshmi is attracted to Krishna. If you want Lakshmi, get Krishna first. Then all things will be added. Even in the Bible, it says, seek ye the kingdom of God first, and then all things will be added unto you. Very simple. Number 3, pure devotional service automatically puts one in a state of transcendental pleasure. So if you come to these Srimad Bhagavatam classes and you hear these stories about the Lord, you'll experience pleasure. Have you ever been sitting there watching a movie and you've just got lost in the movie entirely? You forgot about yourself. You forgot about your misery. You're experiencing whatever the pleasure was that's on the screen. It's not even you. You're just looking at it. and you're identifying with it, and therefore you're experiencing pleasure. So when you identify yourself with the devotional service to the Lord, you will experience transcendental pleasure. There's no question. And pure devotional service is rarely achieved, very rarely achieved. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, out of many millions of men, one may seek the truth, and out of many millions who find the truth, only one may know me in truth. So it's very rarely achieved. Number 5, those in pure devotional service deride even the conception of liberation. They don't care for liberation. They're glad to be here serving the Lord in any capacity, in any way he sees fit. And if he's happy, they're happy. If he's not happy, they're not happy. That's what this is about. That's what this is all about. And here's the bottom line. Pure devotional service is the only means that you can actually attract Krishna. There's no other way. Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji nam namaskaru. Krishna says, just worship me. Always think of me. Do everything that you do. Listen. Raja Vijay Raja Guyam Pavidrami Domudamam Pratyakshavagamam Dharmam Susukam Kartam Avyayam. That means that this is joyfully performed. Susukam Kartum Avyayam. This is joyfully performed. It's everlasting. It goes on forever. If you want eternal pleasure, this is how you get it. However, we've noticed the Srimad Bhagavatam is full with people who they're not really all that interested. All right? So in 9.3, Krishna addresses that. Ashradana Purusa, Dharmashya Parantapa. Those who are not faithful on the path to devotional service, they cannot attain me. Ashradana. In other words, if you don't have faith, you're not going to attain. But they return to birth and death in this material world. But Krishna says that even the material world, madhyakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam, hetuna nena konteya, jagad vibhari bhaktate. This material world is working under Krishna's direction. It's producing all moving and non-moving living entities. And by its manifestation, by its rule, this manifestation is created and annihilated again and again and again and again and again and again. Why do we have to have this thing created again and again and again and again and again? Have we not learned? No. Krishna says in 9:11, Avajananti mam mudha. Mudha means fool. Fool. Mudha. What is a fool? Fool is a person who doesn't know their own best interest and does stupid things, things that are against their own will. Manusham tana mashritam. Parambhavam majanato. Mama budva maheshwaram. They deride Krishna when he descends in his human form. They don't know who he is. They don't know his transcendental nature and his supreme dominion over all that be. So they're offensive and they have to be killed again and again and again and again and again. So Krishna's coming again and again and again and again, right? So that is the basic idea of this story, is that you got to get Krishna one way or the other. You can do it in a favorable way, which is our recommendation from the Vaishnava Acharyas, or you can do it in an unfavorable way. And Krishna will come for you like that also. He'll come for you no matter what. Krishna has never left you. He will never leave you. He loves you more than you love yourself. You don't even know what love is. But when you come in the presence of the Lord, everybody who dies and sees the Lord for a second or goes to the spiritual world for a minute, they're overwhelmed with this sense of unalloyed loving devotion, and they're just moved by it to tears. And when they come back to life in the world, they're changed forever. They're changed forever, because now they know that there is an eternal life beyond, without a doubt, and they know that it's filled with this abiding love that's inconquerable, and that they're experiencing that abiding love. So what do? What do? Satatam kirtiyanto mam yatantas cha dridhabrata namashyantas chamam bhaktya nitya yukta upasate. Always chanting my glories, endeavoring with the greatest of determination, bowing down before me. These great souls perpetually worship me with devotion. So this is our goal. We want to learn how to please Krishna. And the way to do it is ananyas chintayanto mam ye jana payupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yoga kshemam yahamyaham. Yoga kshemam yahamyaham. So what this means is that if you'll do that, then Krishna will even carry what you lack. He'll preserve what you have. Okay? You just do a little something for Krishna. If you just worship Krishna, you just meditate on his transcendental form or his pastimes or his name or whatever you want to do. It's not hard. It doesn't cost any money. It's filled with pleasure. It's filled with adventure and great stories. So if you just do that, even if just to offer him a little fruit and flower, water, whatever, he'll accept. He's not. Krishna says that all that you do, all that you offer, all that you give away, yat karoshi yad ashnasi, yad juhoshi dadasiyat. All that you offer and all that you give away should be done as an offering to the Lord. This is imperative that we do these things. We have to learn this Bhagavatam. Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. And Krishna is not partial. He's not partial. He's very, very clear about that in Bhagavad Gita. He goes, Samoham sarva bhuteshu, na me dveshosti na priyaha. He doesn't envy you. Krishna doesn't want anything you got. He's not partial. He's not somebody's friend and somebody's enemy. That's a mistake. That's not true. But he's equal to all. Krishna is equal to all. And all you got to do is a little bit of friendship to him, and he'll be a friend to you. You will not have to worry about friends anymore. Friends in the material world are not worth having in most cases anyway, unless they're devotees. So those who take shelter in him, it doesn't matter whether birth, what they're Vaishyas, merchants, they could be students, they could be anything. They can approach the supreme destination. And Krishna finishes it out by saying, Madmana bhava mad bhakto madhyaji nam namaskaru mame vaishyasya yuktvaivam atmanam matprayana. So engage your mind always in thinking of him. Offer obeisances, worship him, being completely absorbed in Krishna. Surely you will come to him. So guys, I'm going to end it there. We didn't go back over both the stories. The first story is about Lord Balaram going back and hanging out for a couple of months in his hometown, hanging with all these. By the way, those are his gopis. So you'll understand they're different gopis than the ones Krishna had. They're not the same gopis. So Balaram also has his gopis. And he had a little Varuni beverage. Pretty good stuff. A little honey liquor. Very nice. So he's Kshatriya. Kshatriyas don't follow the same rules and regulation as Brahmins, right? Brahmins have a different rule, different regulation. Krishna is very careful in the front of the Bhagavad Gita. It says, follow your own path. To follow someone else's path is very dangerous. So you shouldn't take anyone else's path. Whatever your natural path is, that's what you should take up. So if you're a Kshatriya and you're a warrior, you have different set of rules and regulations than you would if you're a Brahmin or a Sudra or Vaishya. So there were several verses that I wanted to go back over here, but I think, you're getting the idea. Two very wonderful stories. Very happy to study those stories with you tonight. And then we're going to hear about Balaram next time, killing Dvivida gorilla. So that'll be some fun too. So any questions or comments or anything anybody wants to add to the class before we end it tonight?
Talking about that, the first chapter that we read,
Right.
65. There was something that I liked about this was after the Lord had played in the waters, so basically he'd had a bath. He came out and Goddess Kanti presented him with blue garments, precious ornaments, and a brilliant necklace. And then Balaram dressed himself and anointed with fragrances and beautifully adorned. So I like that because it reminded me of as a pujari, this is what you're doing every single morning, is that you're bathing the Lord. Because it reminded me of this, that you're bathing the Lord and then you're presenting him or her with nice garments and fragrances and anointing them with oils and things and dressing them in their garments and their ornaments and everything. So it reminded me of that.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Well, you're a Pujari, so naturally you'd have an attraction to that as well. The Lord he's kind enough to appear to us in his statue form or deity form, Murti form. And the Archanapadita describes exactly how he should be worshipped in an appropriate way, and the Lord will accept that service. It's very much like a mailbox. You can put up any box you want, but the postman won't pick your mail up. So you got to put up an authorized, regulated box that the postal service agrees, well, they'll accept the mail. You put your little flag up, and then the postman comes by. It's efficient. It's official at that point. So in the same way, we worship the Lord in his physical form here so that we can see the Lord standing before us. Bhakya tvanaya satya. Krishna says, you can actually see me standing before you as I am, only by undivided devotional service. So the idea is we have an opportunity in the deity to do that. Now, in this story that you're talking about, Rangavati, Balaram was, his eyes were rolling from Varuni beverage. You know, he's having a blast, okay? It's a pretty cool story. So he's having a great time. So he just calls out to Mother Jamuna. He says, come on over here. We want to jump in the water and have some fun. She doesn't show up. But Balaram gets a little angry. He says, come here where we can sport in your water. She ignored him. So he said, well, let's just see how that works out. So he gets his plow and he pulls it and he divides her into hundreds of tributaries. While he's doing it, she's trembling out of fright. And she actually personified Jamuna. She appeared before the Lord and fell down at Balaram's feet and prayed for his forgiveness. That's what we have to learn how to do. We all have to learn to do the same thing. And this is a wonderful example by Mother Jamuna, who's doing that. And then the Lord let her go. Once she did that, he was satisfied. See, that's the thing. Ramchandra says it a similar way. He said, lay down your weapons and surrender to me, and then I will give you shelter. Yeah, I will give you protection, even if you're my enemy. I will give you protection. Simply lay down your weapon. Krishna says, first surrender to me, and then I will give you protection. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he doesn't ask for any of that. He gives causeless mercy through his expansion through Nityananda, even to demons like Jagai and Madai, who were the worst dacoits, murderers, prostitute hunters, robbers, just thieves, just terrible people. And Lord Nityananda saved them and took care of them. So, there you go. There's from Ram Raghava. Hare Krishna. See you next week, Ram Raghava. Very nice that you were here. We love you dearly. Okay, so very, very good, guys. So in this, Mother Yamuna is called Mother or Goddess Kanti. That's her name, Goddess Kanti. And she presented Lord Balaram with beautiful ornaments, clothing, and garlands. Isn't that wonderful? So, guys, these stories are eternal. They're going on eternally. These are the Lord's pastimes. He enjoys these pastimes. You can become a participant in the pastimes. Okay? And I can tell you how to do it. Repeat after me. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna Krishna.
Krishna Krishna.
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna,
Hare Hare.
Hare Hare,
Hare Ram.
Hare Rama.
Hare Rama,
Hare Rama.
Rama Rama.
Rama Rama.
Rama Rama,
Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare.
It's that simple, guys.
Mhm.
It's all in the name. It's all in the name. God put all of his power in there. Okay. So in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God. And that word, Omkara, Om, that word is Krishna. So please chant the holy names of the Lord daily and read these Shastras. In this particular story, it says that anyone who does will be alleviated of all sinful reaction. So I'll see you next week, okay?
Okay.
All right, Krishna,
Hare
everybody.
Krishna.
Bye.
Hare
Have a good week.
Krishna.
Haribo.
Haribo.
Soon.